Every single day, your mind is flooded with thoughts, tiny mental sparks that can either fuel your growth or quietly erode your confidence. And while most of them drift away without much notice, some of them repeat over and over until they become patterns that make you question your worth, second-guess your abilities, and shrink yourself to fit the limitations you've accepted as truth. Psychology calls this the negativity bias, a tendency for our brains to focus more on what could go wrong than on what could go right. It's a survival instinct from the past, but in today's world, it can hold you back from opportunities that could change your life. The good news is that the brain is adaptable. Through a process called neuroplasticity, you can rewire your mind to break those destructive patterns, replace them with empowering beliefs, and create the mindset you need to reach the next level. Step 1 is awareness and pause. Imagine you're working as an administrative assistant, but deep down you have a vision of one day being part of the management team. You've been staying late to learn systems, asking thoughtful questions in meetings, and keeping an eye out for leadership opportunities. But then, one day, you overhear a coworker casually say, "Not everyone's cut out for management." You weren't even part of the conversation, but the words stick to you like glue. A few hours later, as you're typing up a report, the thought creeps in. What if they're right? What if I'm not good enough? This is the moment where awareness becomes powerful. Psychologically, awareness interrupts automatic negative thinking, which often runs on autopilot due to the brain's negativity bias. Without awareness, your brain doesn't even question the thought. It just treats it like a fact. But the instant you pause and say to yourself, "I'm having a negative thought right now," you take the driver's seat. It's like catching a thief in the act. If you don't see it, it gets away with stealing your confidence. But if you spot it, you can stop it before the damage spreads. That pause is not about fighting the thought or forcing yourself to be positive. It's simply about observing it without judgment. You might even say in your head, "This is just a thought, not the truth." That mental separation gives you space to respond instead of react. If you practice this enough, you'll notice negative thoughts earlier and earlier, sometimes even before they fully form, making it easier to keep them from spiraling into self-doubt or fear. And in a career context, that means you won't let one passing comment from a coworker derail months of progress toward your goals. Step 2 is to challenge the thought. Once you've caught the thought, "Maybe I'm not cut out for management," you move into the second step, challenging it. This is where we borrow from cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which teaches that thoughts are not facts. They're often just stories our brains tell us, based on fear, assumptions, or past experiences. If you don't challenge them, they harden into beliefs that shape your choices. So in our assistant example, you stop and ask yourself, where's the proof? Has anyone in authority actually told you that you're not capable? Have you failed at every leadership task you've been given? Or have you actually been learning the systems, earning trust, and taking on responsibilities that show you're more than capable? By searching for real evidence, you begin to dismantle the emotional weight of the thought. You might realize the only evidence is a stray comment from a coworker who doesn't know your full story. Or maybe it's coming from your own insecurity, not from reality. Here's a simple but powerful tip. Write the thought down on paper, then make 2 columns, one for evidence for and one for evidence against. In most cases, the evidence against column will be much longer, and seeing that in black and white makes it harder for your brain to keep clinging to the lie. In the workplace, challenging a thought might also mean getting feedback from a trusted mentor or supervisor, instead of guessing what others think. If your boss says you've been doing excellent work, that's not just a compliment. It's a direct contradiction to the doubt in your head. Every time you find evidence against the negative thought, you weaken the neural pathway that supports it, making it easier to replace with something empowering in the next step. Step 3 is to reframe your thinking into possibility. Psychologically, reframing shifts your brain's focus from seeing mistakes as failures to seeing them as stepping stones. When you tell yourself, "Every misstep is giving me the experience I need for the next level," your mind stops treating mistakes as danger signals and starts treating them as part of the process. Over time, this way of thinking builds resilience, because you begin to see challenges not as signs you're in over your head, but as proof you're moving into new territory. Territory that will stretch you, sharpen you, and prepare you for the opportunities you're aiming for. And here's the key. People who grow the fastest in their careers are rarely the ones who play it safe until they feel ready. They're the ones who take initiative before they have all the answers, trusting that every experience, good or bad, is part of the training ground for their future role. So when you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not qualified because I made a mistake," replace it with, "I'm qualified because I'm learning, improving, and refusing to give up." That shift doesn't just make you feel better, it changes how you show up, the risks you're willing to take, and ultimately, the opportunities that open up for you. Step 4 is to anchor the new thought with action. Reframing changes how you think, but to make it stick, you need to give your brain proof, and that's where action comes in. Psychology calls this behavioral activation, linking your new belief to visible, measurable steps so your mind can't ignore the evidence. For our assistant, that might mean volunteering to lead a small project, offering to train a new hire, or taking the initiative to improve an existing process. These are not massive, risky leaps. They're targeted actions that align with the belief, "I'm developing the skills for leadership." Each time you take one of these steps, you send a signal to your brain. "See, I'm capable. I'm learning. I'm building experience." That signal is powerful because the human mind trusts action more than words. You can tell yourself all day that you're growing, but when you can point to specific achievements, you reinforce the belief until it becomes unshakable. It's also important to remember that your early actions don't have to be flawless to count. If you try something and it doesn't work out perfectly, that doesn't mean you failed. It means you've gathered information you can use next time. In a workplace setting, managers often notice initiative and problem-solving skills even more than perfection, because leadership isn't about never making mistakes. It's about being willing to step forward, learn, and adapt. By anchoring your reframe with repeated, consistent action, you build both skill and credibility. Over time, those actions become your personal highlight reel, the evidence that not only convinces you that you belong in leadership, but also makes decision-makers see it too. Step 5 is to repeat this until it becomes your default. Breaking negative thought patterns isn't a single aha moment. It's a discipline you repeat until it becomes second nature. For our assistant, this means that every time a thought like "I'm not ready" or "I'm not cut out for management" surfaces, they go through the same cycle. They notice it, challenge it, reframe it, and back it up with action. At first it might feel like work, but with repetition, the response becomes automatic, and the negative thought loses its power before it can take root. Over months and years, this isn't just a mental exercise, it's a career transformation. You've built a record of initiative, improved skills, and visible results, all while training your brain to support you instead of sabotage you. And when the opportunity for promotion comes, you're not just ready in skill, you're ready in mindset. But there's another layer to sustaining this progress: protecting your mindset from external influences. Not everyone will see your vision, and not everyone will want you to succeed. Some people may project their own fears onto you, saying things like, "That position is too stressful," or "Management isn't for everyone." Others might simply not understand your journey and, without meaning to, give advice that would pull you off track. This is why it's so important to be intentional about who you share your goals with. Your vision is like a seed. It needs the right environment to grow. Share it with people who challenge you in healthy ways, who believe in your potential, and who will remind you of your strengths when you forget them. Keep it away from those who dismiss it, discourage it, or try to make you doubt yourself. When you repeat this cycle, breaking the thought, replacing it with possibility, taking action, and protecting your mental space, you create an unstoppable momentum. And the most powerful thing is, you're not just chasing a title or position. You're building the mental resilience that will carry you far beyond your first promotion, into every new challenge, every higher level, and every dream you once thought was out of reach. Your thoughts are not random. They are patterns, carved into your mind by the choices you've made and the beliefs you've repeated. If you feed your mind fear, it will become a master at finding reasons to keep you small. But if you feed it vision, courage, and consistent action, it will transform into your greatest ally, opening doors you once thought were locked forever. Breaking negative thought patterns isn't about pretending life is perfect. It's about standing tall in the middle of imperfection and deciding that temporary doubt will never have the power to choose your destiny. You have the ability to rewire your brain, to protect your dreams from the voices that would weaken them, and to keep moving forward with unshakable resolve, even when fear screams for you to stop. And here's the truth. The very moment you decide to believe in your ability to rise, you've already stepped into the version of yourself you were always meant to become. The rest is simply catching up. The moment you choose to believe in your ability to rise, you're no longer chasing your future, you're already living it. If today's video gave you a new perspective or a spark of motivation, make sure to like and subscribe so you can keep building the mindset and habits that will take you to the next level.